Hey everyone, it's John from Tasty Squad, back at you with another review, and today we'll be looking at Dishonored 2. So let's just jump right into it. Now, if you've played the first Dishonored, you know that Arcane Studios did a great job at crafting the first game's story. When it comes to Dishonored 2, they did even better. I don't want to give away any major plot details, so I'll just keep this brief. Dishonored 2's story is filled with a cast of old and new unique characters that really bring this story to life. And the main antagonist is the icing on top of that cake. She is fucking awesome. I found myself being much more interested in this cast, or in this one's plot, rather than the first one, simply because of its cast of characters. They just felt more relatable, and I engaged with more of them, and I wanted to know why they were the way they were, and why they were feeling the way they were feeling. The mystery surrounding the main antagonist, Delilah, who she is, where she came from, how she is the way she is, really drove the plot, and I really wanted to find the answers to those questions. So all in all, without giving too much away from the story again, I really want players to experience it for themselves. Without giving too much away, I'd say that the story in Dishonored 2 is definitely appetizing. It could do more, it could be more, but it doesn't need to be. As it is, it's just fine. Would I have liked to seen a little more? Sure, but at its current state, it's fine, and that's acceptable. So now let's move on to gameplay. So a couple of things before I get too deep into the gameplay. First, I have to let everyone know I've only completed the game as Emily, so this review will be focused on how she plays and what her powers can do. Also, I do plan on playing as Corvo in the near future, and if the fans want, I can do a small bit on the game as him as well. Okay, that was it for the small disclaimer. In my one playthrough of Dishonored 2, that was about 17 hours worth of gameplay. So, you think, as a game that it can be played 4 different ways with 2 different characters, that's 8 different playthroughs if you're up for it. So, in theory, that's roughly 160 hours worth of gameplay. Not bad at fucking all. But let's be honest, most people only play 2 to 4 times through. Still, 80 hours of game? That's fucking awesome. I commend Arcane Studios on making a game with such a great replay value. So the game controls very similarly to the first, where the newness lies in the powers that Emily has that are different from Corvo. Again, I don't know what the game holds for Corvo. I don't know if he has new powers or not, because I just played as Emily. But Emily has got some pretty badass powers. To be honest though, I really only used 3 or 4 of them. The teleport, of course, to get from place to place. As simple as that. Mesmerize. Now this is a cool fucking power. Mesmerize allows you to cast this weird, magical looking thing, and it draws enemies into it like a daze, and they just, they get dumbfounded, and it totally leaves them open, and you can come up and just kill 3 to 5 enemies like that, because it leaves them so just dazed. Domino is another good power for quickly eliminating enemies with Emily. With the Domino power, you can link enemies together, and whatever you do to one affects all the ones that are linked. So if you get a headshot on one, boom, 3 are dead right there. That's great for when you really can't get into a position where you can cast Mesmerize and come in and kill 3 or 4 of them, because let's say there's like 8 or 9 people in that area. You cast Domino, eliminate 3 or 4 of them, then you can go in with your Mesmerize and go from there. And then, I didn't really... Well, there's Daze, there's the Mesmerize, there's Dominoes. I guess I really only used 2 powers as Emily's. Sometimes I used, the dark vision to look and see where enemies were, but it just didn't work that well, because you would think it would, but there's not really too many dark areas, and it only works if it's like pitch black. So I found myself using that very rarely. Very rarely. As for the other powers with Emily, like Doppelganger and Shadow Walk, I never touched them. They never caught my eye. I was never drawn to them, but Domino and Mesmerize where I really kept my game going. And that was fine for me. I got caught a lot, but I was always able to salvage it because I would just mesmerize people and eliminate them. Really, the only gameplay mechanic I didn't like, and this has to do more with story, I should have talked about this earlier, but it's the choice system Dishonored gives you. And I didn't like it in the first game either. Because Dishonored is a game series that, and this has been pointed out by several people, it gives you this option to just play it and be as merciless and as sadistic as you want, but then it punishes you for it. It's like saying, oh, here's $5 million, but don't go spend any of it. It's like, what the fuck? Like, why even give us this if we're just going to be punished for using it? And I know for people out there that, want to prove how badass they are and say, I can get through this game without the powers, why can't you? I can do this game without killing anyone, why can't you? And that's the thing, it's like, we could, but maybe, there's people out there that need a quick playthrough, or, everyone's different, everyone likes to play different, and, it's not as black and white as something like, say, Infamous, where it's like, this is good, this is evil, you can do a good playthrough, you can do an evil playthrough. It's like Dishonored, it's really difficult to not kill the people, and that just adds a whole new depth to gameplay that I personally don't want to touch. I feel like the game's already challenging enough as it is. So, I hate that system, I hate how it affects the ending and how people look at you and stuff. It's like, why give me powers to be a supernatural assassin if you don't want me to be a fucking supernatural assassin? I don't know. Probably the thing I disliked the most in Dishonored 2 was how the upgrade system worked. And that's because it worked exactly like it did in the first game. And if you haven't played the first game, no need to worry. I'll explain. You use one of the items you get that looks like a steampunk heart. And I'm not fucking joking. The damn thing is a human heart with metal cogs in it. That's metal as fuck. Anyway, back on topic. So you use this heart to reveal the location of either runes or bone charms. Runes you collect to upgrade your attributes and powers. Each rune is the equivalent to 1 skill point. And as you progress, you need more and more skill points to level up your powers. Bone charms are more like unique little perks, like a chance of not using mana when you cast one of your spells. You can even craft your own bone charms with up to 4 perks on one. So that's theoretically 40 perks at the same time if you max out that skill and get really good at bone charm crafting. My biggest problem with these, however, is I never really feels like they do much to help with the gameplay. I never seem to notice my bone charm's effects, like at all. Very rarely do I seem to notice a bone charm effect. Both have to be found throughout the levels, which I feel like kind of brings a halt to the level progression, as you have to backtrack and get off the path towards the objective and find them half the time. And half the time there's puzzles involved, and it really takes away from the sense of progression. I can't say that's a bad thing, as it helps the game feel less linear and fleshes out the levels more and gives you more of a reason to explore every inch of that level. I just personally don't care for the upgrade system. I prefer you get XP based on how you play, and you spend it accordingly, but that's just me. I don't mind linearness, I also don't mind an open world game, but for some reason, for me, Dishonored feels like it should be more of a linear progression. So it kind of brings me out of it when I'm like, fuck, I have to go halfway back across the level to find this one bone charm, because there's only 5 per level, so if you don't find all of them in a level, you ain't upgrading shit. But anyway, back to topic. As for gameplay's solid. New powers are fun, pretty much the same as the first game, but the first game was a lot of fun, so there wasn't really much work they needed to do to make it better, and I think adding new powers that have totally new effects was enough. They didn't need to do anything else. So gameplay is delectable. It's fucking awesome. Now graphics. Now I am a firm believer in graphics don't make a game, because they don't. There is tons of great games that look like absolute shit out there. But since I'm reviewing this game, I have to at least talk about them. The graphics don't really seem to have improved since the original game. However, they did once again manage to capture that same unique steampunk style that Arcane Studio has created. And I gotta say, as someone that doesn't like steampunk stuff, they really did a great job of capturing this world. I may not like steampunk, but I like Dishonored steampunk. And while the graphics don't seem to have improved in any way, they've remained the same, and these games definitely feel like part of the same universe. If you're going for realistic, pretty graphics, Dishonored 2 fails terribly. But if you're going for a very stylized, badass look, then it passes with flying colors. And honestly, in a market that's flooded with look how good we can look how good we can look, something that is unique and stands out says so much more. So you know what? It may not be the best looking game out on the market right now, but it definitely has its own fucking lore and environment, and it really feels like it makes its own stamp in the gaming industry. So for that, I commend this game. So for me, I'm going to say the graphics are appetizing. Final score, wrapping everything up. Dishonored 2 is an overall amazing gameplay experience that is as good, if not better, than the first game. I recommend it to anyone. If you have not played Dishonored or Dishonored 2, go and get them right now. I do not know what the fuck you are doing if you have missed these great games. I understand the first game was a lot less talked about, a lot less advertised. Go get it. It's $20. Get it. Get the second game. Thank me later. They're great experiences. And I gotta say, I had a lot of fun with Dishonored 2, even more so than the first game. The story was better, the new powers were fucking cool, and I liked Emily as a character. I liked the side characters, actually. You know, everyone felt interesting. Everyone had a unique story to tell. Story-wise, again, the game kills it. Gameplay-wise, Dishonored, Arcane Studios carries over that same great feel again. Graphics, unique world, amazing. So overall, in all aspects, I'd say Dishonored 2 earns a delectable score, which is the Tasty Squad equivalent of a 9 out of 10, and it rightfully deserves so. So guys, thank you so much for listening to me sit here and be nerdy with my loud breaths because I can't breathe because lung problems. But anyway, if you liked what you see here, please leave a thumbs up and maybe even subscribe for more Tasty Squad content. If you didn't like the video, explain in the comments why. We're a growing channel. We want to know how we can improve. Constructive criticism is a great thing. And as always, guys, I can't stress this enough. Stay tasty.